What's bugging Snug? What's bugging Snug? What's bugging Snug? What's bugging Snug?
Everybody's talking about Fender. Everybody's talking about Fender. I do not own a Fender. I own a Squire. Used. What model it is, I don't know. I mean, it's a Mustang, but I'm assuming it's, well, yeah, I don't know. Indonesia, whatever that means. My wife got it used, and this is currently my daughter's. It's a decent guitar. So everybody's talking about Fender, and there's lots of people upset, lots of people concerned, lots of people, well, maybe not lots, but then there's some that's saying good for Fender. This is what they should be doing. Theft is theft. Before I say anything else, I would like to make a correction. Because you see these YouTube videos, everybody's talking about Fender, but they're not talking about this. Why is everybody talking about Fender? This is why everybody's talking about Fender. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? I noticed, but I'm cynical. Not everyone is talking about Fender. There are those that are not, and they are either strangely silent, or the one that cracked me up was, I'm not going to name names, but you've seen it probably. YouTube production takes a while, and we just can't be up to date, and got to get all the facts, and can't be going off half-cocked, and so that's why you haven't seen a video. Not because, maybe there's a special relationship with Fender there, not that, these kinds of videos, like, oh, I can give an honest review of this guitar. I bought this guitar with my own money. Yeah, maybe you did after going to the invite-only NAMM special security room with just the Fender executives, where you get the first-hand look at the new things, and, you just happen to have the brand new model, the video coming out the day that the guitar is released for sale, those kind of things. So, there's a few of those channels that have not weighed in, and, good for them. You got to look out for business, right? You made YouTube your business. You have to protect your business. I get that. So I've got no deep insights on this. I would say that, Fender, what it is or what it isn't, whether it's a cultural thing, whether it's an artistic thing, whether it's beyond whatever, whether it's, corporate greed versus, artistic integrity or whatever. I'd say you keep two things in mind at the same time. So there's the Fender, the idea, right? There's Fender, the Strat. There's Fender, the erector set, as I heard someone describe it, the erector set applied to the guitar world. there's the concept, there's this indefinable thing that we say is Fender, whether it's rock and roll, whether it's the Strat style guitar, whether it's the country twang of a Telecaster, whatever. So there's that. And that's good. And that's been a positive, for music and for culture and whatnot. So then there's Fender the entity. And what is Fender the entity? Well, it is no one thing, is it? Because at first it was a guy in his garage, a guy and his buddy, making guitars. And then it became a thing, right? They made a good product. It became a thing. So then you had Fender the company. Then it became a little too big for just a guy. So he sold, right? Sold it to CBS. Well, now you got Fender the corporation. And I'm not a detailed, I don't have all my facts right, but it's sometime after the CBS buyout. That's when you have the headstock, right? And the Fender name and the headstock thing come up, right? CBS corporate, I think, and I might be wrong. I've digested so many YouTube videos over the past couple of years about the history of things. I don't know for certain, but that seems about right. So you have the corporate, right? And then, you talk to some people and that's when things started to go wrong and blah, 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 blah. So that's Fender 2.0. Let's say that. Let's say Fender 2.0 CBS. So then CBS sells to somebody, whenever that happened in the, right, and then that's Fender 3.0, and then you have this new entity that's buying up Fender and G&L, and Gretsch is now Fender, and Warmouth's now Fender, and all these things in this big conglomerate of stuff. So whatever that is, Fender, Fender now. That's a completely separate thing, right? There is no genealogy from what we have today to what Fender had back there. Sure, there might be some old timer working in a master luthier who was around for 50 years, and then he was taught by the guy that was there for, maybe taught by Leo or something. I don't know, but that's a tenuous thing there. That we're not talking about that. We're talking about the concept of, contracts and law and copyright and trademark and all this stuff. So 2009, Fender tried to crack down on it, and their headstock was able to be protected, and their name obviously is able to be protected, but the court ruled, look, you can't trademark the body shape. It's too late for that, And there was decades of allowing other companies to do it in some form or another. So now we got this situation with Germany. And what I find funny is there's basically a default ruling. And, Homer Simpson says those are the two sweetest words in the English language, default. But, that's like a major league team or a professional football team chalking up a win because the other team didn't show up. Well, yeah, it's a win, but there's a big asterisk there. So there's and I don't know how the European courts work, but it was a small regional court. So could this be appealed and go to a higher court? Maybe. Would the outcome be the same? Maybe. I don't know. But acting like this is, set in stone, I think is a little premature. Now, as a corporation, as the holder of the rights and the intellectual property, whatever that means. Look, the corporate board of directors and the new CEO and all those guys, they can do whatever they want within the realms of legality, right? So if they want to try to bring about enforcement to protect what they think is theirs, right? It's theirs now. It wasn't theirs 20 years ago. It was somebody else's. It wasn't theirs 40 years ago. It was something else, right? But possession, 9/10 of the law, whatnot, right? So if they want to do that, that's fine. And I'm reminded of a famous saying, for my friends, everything, for my enemies, the law. And that's where I see a disconnect between wanting to try to protect some thing that you think is yours, the body shape of the Strat body shape. And then, these demands that are in these cease and desist. Now, part of that could just be, the old rule of horse trading. You make these outrageous demands right up the front, and then you look reasonable when you back away. So the whole, we want customer lists. We want you to destroy everything. You have to recall things that have already been sold. And, there's seemingly no cap on that. So not in the last week, not in the past 2 months, but since you've been in business, really? That's ridiculous and is completely, unreasonable. And maybe that's by default. Maybe they know that's unreasonable, and that's why they're doing it, so they can look, no, we'll back off. We'll let that go. We just want, whatever, pay a licensing fee, pay a royalty fee, or whatever. That, I think, is pretty reasonable. Perhaps the most reasonable thing would have just been leading with that. And then you would have looked reasonable from the outset, and maybe people would be willing to work with you. I don't know. I don't know these things, but as for the notion, there's and I get it. I get brand loyalty. I get super fandom. I understand that. I've been getting a kick out of reading comments under some of these videos. Fender's got every right. They should have been doing this, and it's just theft. And if you want to, make your own design, you want to try to make something, make your own design, and otherwise you're just a dirty thief, and blah, 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 blah. And maybe there's some validity to that. I don't know if those people are trolling, if they're bots, maybe, I don't know. They need to relax. So are the people that are, these dirty corporatists, and they need to be strung up, by their heels and tarred and feathered. And, not that I've been getting, there's a lot of that sentiment. That there's always some of that. I don't think it's that far, but anyway, so this long rambling thing, I see people saying, I don't know if I can play a Fender anymore. And I think that's the wrong attitude, because whatever their current leadership, the current ownership, whatever you want to say, is doing, doesn't retroactively ruin a product that someone else has made with other intent. And if an instrument has brought you relaxation or joy or entertainment or pleasure, or for some of us, therapy, peace of mind, an outlet, why would you give this power to some suit that's, new in his position, that's flexing his wallet with his lawyers on retainer and all that. Why give them that power over something that they didn't have anything to do with, right? This guy running Fender didn't have anything to do with the Fender made 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever. So the people saying, oh, I can't play a Fender anymore. I might have to sell my Fender. I might have to, Man, that's... Just step back. It's... You can disagree with what the company's doing. You can choose not to support them going forward. You could say, I'm not going to buy a new Fender anymore. Don't let them take something from you. Don't let them ruin a good memory. It's like a completely unrelated subject, but I got friends that are really into sci-fi and stuff like that, and they'll say like, oh, that new Star Wars movie. Oh, it ruined Star Wars. Or, that Star Trek show ruined Star Trek, and I can't enjoy it. It's like, well, just don't watch it. If you don't like that new show, don't watch it. Why are you letting it ruin the thing that you watched when you were a teenager? It's the same thing, This new company and, the new people in charge of the company, why are you letting them ruin something that meant something to you, or you had a good experience with? The new suits at the top, that's just, let them do whatever they want. Don't give them more power than they already have. They're going to be flexing their power in court, all that stuff. Don't let them have that kind of power over you. That's all I wanted to say. Too much. I know I rambled. But yeah, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You should always kind of decide whether you want to... Boy, that neighbor's truck is loud. You should always be a responsible consumer in one way or the other. But yeah, I like watching the variety of opinions. And there's some people that are like, okay, I'm going to make this video. Here's why it's bad. Here's a video that, separate video. Okay, this is why Fender's doing it. This is their justification, And so not everybody's lost their mind over that. And I like seeing that. I also like the people that, that aren't making videos, and we all know the reason why. They can't admit the reason why. Yeah, I find that funny. It's like, at some point, some of these guys just need to give up this notion that they are anything other than what they are. I have put all my chips in the YouTube basket, so I have to watch out for my bottom line and quit pretending like they're unbiased and they're these detached observers and this brand new $2,000 guitar showed up here and I've got great things to say about it, but my words are my own and nothing's influencing me in any way, shape, or form. It's okay. It's okay. There's going to be people thinking, and nobody that I'm talking about is ever going to watch this video, which is fine. But there's already people calling you shills, calling you names. There's people calling, somebody with 100 subscribers and they give a good review of something. There's people online calling them shills. It's the internet, it's modern culture. Everybody's gonna gripe about something. But this idea that there's these, you know, or you know, don't even address it at all. Look at this completely separate thing over here. Look at how, you know, I'm not gonna make a video on this Fender thing because I'm started a nonprofit to find homes for paraplegic dogs, and let's focus on that and not, you know, I'm being facetious now, but anyway, so for the two of you that are still watching, you know, it's the whole tariff thing over again. Remember when tariffs were going to destroy the guitar industry and nobody was going to be able to afford a guitar anymore and all that stuff? You know, give it time. The doomsayers will say doom. The company men will tout the company line, and we all can meet somewhere in the middle and see how it all shakes out. So what do you say? All right. This has been What's Buggin' Snug. I'm tired. Have a good Memorial weekend. Enjoy your family and your freedom, and play some music. All right. Bye.